What's going on, guys? FM26 is here, and it's the first tactic I have not slept since the beta's come out, and today I bring you the brilliant beta 4231 that I literally spent all night making. Now make sure firstly you leave a like and subscribe and whack the bell on, because we've got this tactic and this tactic coming up in the next 2 days. Let's lock in. We're going to get into it today big style. This is a mental tactic for day one. So then, because obviously I wanted to play literally most of the games, in fact I think I played around about 32 out of 38 actual games throughout the night. There is going to be one test today, and that is going to be with Arsenal. Now I will say it's a very versatile tactic. It's a 4-2-3-1, so you can use this with pretty much any team you could possibly ever imagine. And I can tell you something right away. We get off to a very good start in that Premier League. We do lose 4 games. We do draw 4 games. Obviously, I'm learning the tactic system as much as you are as well. But we do get the job done, and in the end, actually quite comfortably with 94 points compared to Liverpool down here with 83, which, you know, they did push me right to the very end, but we just about got the job done, and that by itself would be amazing. But of course, if you've seen the thumbnail, you know we also went on to win another very big trophy. Now obviously the layout's very different, so we're still coming to grasp with how I'm going to display stats and show you boys and girls exactly what the tactic done. But one thing that a lot of people have been struggling to find, so I'm going to include it in the video, is how you actually see the top goal scorers and how you see all of this good stuff. So obviously this is going to have your most goals, most possession, most yellow cards. Now if you actually click onto the stats, you can sort of cherry pick the ones you want to look at. So for example, if I want to look at the most goals in the league that a player scored, I can click on most goals and it comes up. Now I will say it's not obvious how you do that, so as a little heads up, you do that for everything really. I like the UI, but I do think there's a lot of things which aren't obvious. Like for example, you wouldn't really know that you can just click on one of these things. It doesn't highlight or anything, right? So definitely worth just clicking about the menus and finding out. Now if we click on the stats, the thing that I do miss is the fact that, like, you know, if you go in, for example, to let's go into the most goals, it's a bit more clicky based, isn't it, to get there. But you can see here when it comes to the goals, we are going to be, you can filter between these, you know, yellow cards, headers, one, all of this stuff. You can go general, attacking, form, all of this good stuff to actually see what you want to see. But I mean, the base foundation of it all, we were a team really that were just exceptionally good at the back. You know, 19 clean sheets, fewest conceded, most shots, most goals, you know, possession wise, I don't know if I clicked on that, I'll remind myself, 4th place, very good for the Premier League. It's a really strong season, and obviously at the end of the day it's a defensive masterclass. When it comes to the Champions League, we definitely deserve to win it, because we thumped Inter Milan 4-1 in our home game with goals from Saka, Victor Gyökeres and Gabriel Martinelli, which pushed us of course all the way through into what is going to be, when I get to it, let me find it, there you go, the semi-finals. So we're talking about a loss to start things off, which is not ideal, but it is a PSG, you know, away from home. It's not going to be an easy game, and we are going to bounce back and win 4-2. So a little bit of ice, and yes, 3 tactical variants being used, and this is a key example. And for a little treat, we're going to go and watch the Champions League, which actually was against Man City, and we start off with a great ball down the line there into Odegaard, a little ball and a great finish. Odegaard really looking lively in this game, and we win it 2-0. Simple. And if you look at the stats, it's a game we deserve to win. They had a little bit more possession on the day. We did go in on the defensive version though. So, you know, we weren't actually expecting to score that many goals. So to grab a 2-0 win, I'm going to take it. Very happy with that. Obviously, over the actual whole season, the things that didn't go great were the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. But from the grand scheme of things, we're looking at a tactic here. You know, we look at the data hub in the Premier League. We're looking at 2.5 goals per game, a pass completion of 92, over 19 shots a game, 0.9 conceded. We're having an absolute whale of a time. We're having a great time this season. And to be honest with you, yes, it's not like 4 goals plus a game, and that's because we have to learn the the exact attacking, you know, meta, to be honest with you, but it still is a really, really good tactic that took me all night to make, so I know it definitely does work. Now, if you look at the schedule, I was tweaking as I was going, so we did actually start off really hot here in the friendlies. I then had this sort of spell here, which I nearly lost my head at, but then I was like, do you know what? We're playing Newcastle, we're playing Inter, they're two very, very good teams, so I made minuscule changes, and from this point on, the tactic remained the same, apart from a few variant changes here and there. And we do lose games, but towards the latter stages of the season, the Premier League was actually already wrapped up, so the losses weren't actually too serious. So what we're going to go over and do, we're going to go and break the tactic down. It might take a bit longer because there's a lot of detail this year, and there are 3 variants to talk about. And as I always say, you need to get all 3 variants because I don't sit here and play with one. So the results that I get are not with just the first tactic. I will make that abundantly clear. So then, over to the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And as always, if you enjoy rebuilds, come on over to Daily Josh. It's my second channel. We have got rebuilds and of a beta save going on at the moment. Loads of you guys went over last night. Do not miss out because there's some tactics on there that this channel don't get for a fair bit of time. So make sure you go over there, hit the subscribe button, hype up the videos. And today we're going to go through 3 variants of this tactic. Now, for the first couple of weeks, I'm not going to, you know, reset the team and do it bit by bit because there is simply so much detail anyway. We're going to have to click onto every one of these players to expand their profiles. So the actual whole initial tactic is on the sort of default version. Now, we have got an attacking and a defensive one. You are going to need all 3. Now, I will go over and say this is a perfect mixture of a 4-2-3-1 that is actually quite balanced when it comes to in possession, and out of possession we just got a little bit more defensive. So we'll go over right now and first of all talk about the player roles, and we'll go from there really. So first off, we are going to have a ball playing goalkeeper actually coming in the likes of David Raya, and what I will do is I will go over the instructions here that are different, that essentially I have changed, because if I go standard, it's going to be a lot of talking and it will probably frustrate you as much as me. And again, please do tell me any feedback you have on these videos, how I should present it, whatever that is, because obviously this is a whole new ball game for me as it is for you. But out of possession, all on standard as well, nothing too crazy to be honest with you. Going over to Timber, the fullback on the right hand side. Out of possession, we have got him set to mark tighter and also tackle harder. In possession, stay wider, and that is purely because we are playing with an inside forward, so I want that player to stay wide, and that is purely because if we don't have that, we're not really going to have much whip from that right hand side. So it's absolutely vital that Timber is going to get a little bit of action in there. We are then going to deploy 2 ball playing, or should I say ball playing centre backs, and these are going to be pretty much defaulted, to be honest. So you can see the locked ones here. I didn't really change much on any of these. In fact, I didn't, because when you get like a brand new game, sometimes the key is simplicity, and to show you again, we have changed nothing within these player roles. So to be honest with you, we have not overcooked it, we've not gone crazy, I've kept it quite humble, and that's because I'm getting used to the game, so I don't want to have loads of instructions. When it comes to the left back, for example, the full back, we've got it on stay wider again to provide the width. Out of possession, mark tighter, tackle harder. I noticed that, you know, the fullbacks are being quite complacent in the beta, so telling them to get stuck in and tackle harder is actually quite justified in my opinion. I do want to quickly say at this part of the video, if you're interested in getting all of these perks, that does include every FM26 tactic I release, all of my rebuild files, set pieces, training, tactical help, early access, ad-free viewing, access to giveaways, and so much more. There is loads of stuff. Make sure you go and check out the Patreon, because we are cooking up a storm. Loads of you guys joined yesterday. Loads of you are going to get the cool tactics, so make sure you go and check it out, because currently there is 40% off. Make sure you go and check it out. Going to the midfield then. The DM on the right is going to come in possession. Nice that this role actually did remain. So again, we've not gone too crazy when it comes to in possession. Things are looking quite standard, pardon the pun. Out of possession, simply mark tighter. Do not overcook your tactics. I'm seeing so much anger on the timeline about people stressing about tactics. Do not overcook it. Don't worry too much. You don't need to. Next to him, we are going to have a player which I personally like a lot. that is going to be Declan Rice. Playing in that box-to-box playmaker role. We have got him on tackle harder when it comes to out of possession. The marking is going to be left to the default, as per also the marking target. In possession, we've got take more risks on the passing, which is a bit of a big change, to be honest, because not everyone necessarily would back this, but having just one player deep who's a bit of a risk taker is actually really, really helpful and something that I highly recommend. On the left-hand side, we are going to have Martinelli, and we have gone a bit out there with the instructions. So, first of all, cut inside with the dribbling direction. We are also going to have take more risks when it comes to the passing risks, shoot more often, and do you know what? It's optional. You can also tell him to roam, but I actually found a little bit of more of a solid approach when I actually followed the tactics. So, to be honest with you, this is a player that is just designed to be quite risky, cut inside, have shots at goal, and just get goals out of this match engine. Now, we also tell him to tackle harder, because obviously, again, just like last year, tackle harder seems to be a bit of a gem. It done me quite well, so I would recommend it to you. And looking at the likes of Saka, well, we can see him like this, to be honest with you. We're looking at cut inside, shoot more, take more. It's literally the same as the left-hand side. So nothing really changes too much, to be honest. Pretty ideal. Can't really complain. Through the middle, we are going to have the AP in Martin Odegaard. Dribble more, roam, take more risks, of course, is locked because of the player role. And when it comes to out of possession, I've kept him on basic because, again, there is... I mean, you look at this screen, you have got 11 instructions, you know. It's a lot to look at. Out of possession... You've got 4. I feel like a lot of people are just clicking buttons, as I was, and wondering why stuff isn't working. My advice, start simple, then expand, as we are going to have a centre forward to finish it off on roam and also shoot more often, and Victor Gyökeres actually put up a good amount of goals, as we also have him on more often, actually, on the trigger press, and also tackle harder. Now, that's going to be your in possession. Out of possession, of course, we are going to have a couple of changes. So when it comes to the fullbacks, for example, they are literally the same. So I'm not going to waste your time today. I'm not like that. We have 2, obviously, centre-backs now. So these are going to come in. Out of possession, they're going to be defaulted. In possession, they are also going to be defaulted. I'll showcase Gabriel as well. It is literally the same concept. So you have not got to worry about that whatsoever. When it comes to the sort of midfield players, obviously, we are going to stick with a DM on the right-hand side, who again is defaulted in possession, and out of possession, simply mark tighter. Declan Rice is going to come in, still on the same role, still on tackle harder, and still being told to take those risks, because I need him to be a bit of a playmaker. Even in the sort of out of possession where I've got these players dropping back, I want him still to playmake. Now, when it comes to the wide players, in possession, we are going to keep it exactly the same. Same goes for out of possession. The difference is both of them, of course, have both been dropped into a different role. And to be honest with you, I actually really like this role, the wide midfielder, I believe. It just sits them back a little bit, and you defend almost in a back 8, which is really, really positive, not, but it gets the job done. The AM comes in on dribble more, roam, standard, take more risks, and simply defaulted, and we actually do back and stick with obviously the big man up top. No reason to change him really, so that is identical as per the first one. So that is going to be your actual sort of player roles for in possession and out of possession, you can see on this beautiful graphic. We're now going to go over to the team instructions, so let's go over and cover that right now. So team instructions in possession, we'll go with the overview. In fact, let's go final third. We'll break it down bit by bit, shall we? So we've gone with balanced, work ball into the box, slow crosses, and also discourage. Progression, we are going to go with balanced, 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 and pass to feet when it comes to the pass reception. And when it comes to the build-up, we're going to go play through. We're going to go short, distribute to the goalkeeper, and not distribute to the goalkeeper, sorry. Distribute, and also play to the centre-back. Sorry there, a little bit of confusion. Confusion? That's the lack of sleep coming in. But we do love the game. We love the modern game. And that's going to be sort of the team instructions. Again, I've seen a lot of people have a little bit of a dig at this, as we are going to go over this as well, don't worry. Much shorter passing, a higher tempo, more expressive, you know, everything else kept quite negative, to be honest. But a lot of people have been really complaining about this, and again, I think it's just because it's new. We need to give the game a chance. That's what I believe anyway. Out of possession, we are going to look at the overview first. The high press, the higher defensive line, more often, and also counter press is going to be of choice. The high press, short goalkeeper distribution, yes please, thank you very much. The mid block is going to be simply set to balanced, and the low block is also going to be set to balanced. So team instructions we can go over a bit quicker than last year, it feels, or very, very similar, as we now go over to the attacking version, which obviously is going to be to try and get back into a game, or to try and, you know, if you're playing as a real top team, even start your games as. Now, some of the stuff does remain the same. So for example, the entire back line does remain literally the same, as does both of the wide players, as does Odegaard and Gyökeres. What I've done is from the kickoff is drag 2 players up centrally. So we've got a central 4-2-3-1. On the right hand side, it is going to be a central midfield player. On Rome, standard. So really the only change here is that Roman of the ball, and out of possession simply marked tight. So not too stressful, I hope. I've kept it pretty basic because also I'm aware that people are trying to learn this year's game, and it's not always easy. Declan Rice is going to be set to tackle harder, and this man I want to be almost like a box to box without being on the roll. So take more, well, make more runs. There's so much stuff to read. Make more runs, dribble more, and also roam from position is going to be of choice, because this will essentially make Declan Rice be allowed to run up and down the pitch and just contribute to the attacks, which, to be honest, I actually still need. So the real change here is firstly the mentality up to attacking, a big change. The midfield players getting pushed up as well, and apart from that, out of possession, we sort of, you know, we keep it in that base 4-2-3-1, but we drop. So when it comes to the back line, it's exactly the same as the first variant on the out of possession section, but we do introduce 2 obviously deeper players. So DM on the right hand side, on roam from position, and also mark tighter. So pretty simple right there. Next to him, we are going to have a bit of a different role coming in, and that is going to be him being told to dribble more, make more runs, roam, and also tackle harder. So I've actually kept the same positive mindset in pretty much Declan Rice, but also Zubamendi can roam. I want them still to roam and be creative, but I don't want them to go as aggressive. Now, I will say I actually opted in the end to have wingers. I like to switch it up from variant to variant to throw the AI off, sorry. And I've got the same sort of vibe, so shoot more often. I've got cut inside selected. I've kept this all set to the defaults, to be honest. But I went with wingers purely just to try and throw a little bit of a wild card in there. And it worked really, really well. Cutting inside, shooting more again, taking more risks. I mean, it's definitely a different way of playing to have 2 players that sort of create overloads with the fullback and the winger, but it worked really, really well. Odegaard goes to an AM on dribble more. Rome obviously locked into taking more risks. And out of possession, he is going to be defaulted. And Gyökeres, just to showcase it, he remains exactly the same as per the balanced version. So not too much stress there. Now, team instructions, in possession, the overview, the only thing we really change here is revving up the tempo to much higher. You know, the passing remains the same, be more expressive remains the same. The final third, we are going to keep it literally exactly the same, although I may have changed that to encourage apart from the default. So there is, you know, a very similar pattern of how we're playing football. We're just making it a bit more edgy. As you can see here, encourage on the dribbling, allow those players to do it. Pass to feet is still going to be of choice. The build-up is still going to be exactly the same. So we're keeping the same DNA, we're just changing some of the things. So for example, the much higher defensive line, the high press, step up more, get stuck in, counter press more often, you know, that sense of aggression that we didn't always have with the balanced version. Short goalkeeper distribution is going to be set to yes. The mid block is going to be set to balanced, and the low block is also going to be set to balanced, and that will give you the attacking version. Now the defensive, which is, very defensive. It technically is a 4-2-3-1, but we've dropped back a lot of players. So firstly, we'll go over the in possession. The out of possession is, it's true haramble, to be honest. Now, in possession, let's talk business. So the ball-playing goalkeeper and the actual ball-playing centre-backs and the full-backs are going to remain the same. Purely because even with, like, Timber, for example, none of them were actually that attacking. So they're both told to stay wider. That's not really attacking, so we don't have to change anything. We have a DM partnership on the right. We are going to have him simply defaulted and out of possession just set to mark tighter. And on the left, we are going to have him to obviously set to tackle harder in out of possession sense and also defaulted. So simplicity is key in the defensive version. The AM is going to come in and be defaulted, out of possession, defaulted. You can probably tell what I'm doing at the moment. The inside forward is going to be set to tackle harder, and he will be told to cut inside, but not actually shoot more often on this occasion. Take more risks, because I still want him to be that bit of a risk taker when it comes to providing, but the same goes for the right-hand side, guys. No favoritism. I also don't want him to be shooter more often, but I do want him to be quite aggressive in winning the ball back. And when it comes to Gyökeres, well, there's no point in changing the guy because he was an absolute bagsman. So this is a bit of a, you know, molded and dulled down version of the brilliant beta, but it's a lot more sort of reserved, and out of possession, the bad boy is reserved because Gyökeres remains the same. We then obviously have these two wide midfield players who are both told to do pretty much the same as what they were as inside forwards, but as wide midfield players. So cutting inside, taking more risks, tackling harder. The same will be said for exactly the same on the left-hand side. I'm keeping things pretty straightforward for now. The CM through the middle is simply going to be set to the default once again because he's a player that I just wanted to drop back. I didn't really want him to do anything special in particular. Just simply be there and, well, without sounding critical, just exist, to be honest. Now, we also have dropped the mentality down to cautious. So, I mean, that is also another really, really big change. And this is designed to sort of seal out a game with, to be honest with you. The DM on the right-hand side, marked tighter and simply defaulted. And on the left-hand side, we are going to have a default player here, and out of possession, simply tackle harder. So the same concept comes in. It's a very, very similar playing tactic, but just a few key changes. If you factor in the cautious mentality, the way that we're a lot deeper when we're out of possession, and we're a lot more reserved even in possession, the team instructions will speak for themselves. So much shorter, lower tempo, time wasting is gone up by 1 to standard, creative freedom's gone down to balance, so we are playing a much more controlling game. Final third, work ball into the box, low crosses, balanced, and also discourage. Progression, we're going to have all balanced and pass to feet, and build up, play through, short, distribute, and also centre backs. Now, I will say, obviously, you can filter this if you really want to, but for me, I actually quite go in with the play through the press. It worked really well. I like what I see, and therefore, I have no reason to really change it. Out of possession, starting with the overview, we're dropping the line, baby. Standard defensive line, balanced, standard, counter press. We're still keeping the high press because I want to see my team work hard and actually try and win the ball back. The high press, yes, and also balanced. The mid block, balanced, and also the low block, balanced. Now that is going to give you 3 versions of the brilliant beta 4231. We'll look at a sort of both, you know, view here. We can look at combined if you want, really, but to be honest with you, I like the both view. You can see the differences in all of the tactics. I think they've done a really, really good job this year. I'll be honest with you, boys and girls. I love what I see so far. That's going to give you 3 variants. Obviously, all 3 are very important. If you want to save yourself a bunch of time, you can go to the Patreon and simply download all 3. When console and mobile are out, I'll go back and make a version for them, so don't worry about that. I know the video is a little bit longer, but the tactics are so much more detailed. So please give me feedback where you think I need to slow down a bit, where I need to speed up a little bit. Let me know. I'm very, very open for feedback. You guys are the reason I am here. You know, you mean the world to me. So if you've got any advice, please let me know in the comments. And if you have enjoyed somewhat, a like and subscription would mean the absolute world. Because this year, I think we're going to have a lot of fun together on this channel. I really, really do. I hope you have a splendid, splendid day.